Hello, everyone. My name is Noman Azhar. You can see it here as well. I'll be moderating a session today for you. We have a panel of esteemed guests with us, starting from Francisco. Thank you very much for
Hello.
taking our time. Then we have Edwin, we have Zubair, and we have Oran. We will be taking you through the topic, which obviously is about blockchain, and trying to, kind of educate you on how and when the blockchain adoptability is going to increase. What are the use cases that we need to focus on? Is it about technology or is it about the front end, the customer experience, which actually matters? Because at the end of the day, it is all about usability. So let me start with Oran, if you allow me to ask you a question.
Sure.
So if there is to be a blockchain revolutionary barriers, right? Every technology has its own barriers. How do you think the compliance of organizations are going to overcome those barriers that are there with the, or related very closely with the blockchain technology?
Yeah, I think, first of all, happy to see such an amazing crowd coming to listen about what we have to say, both on the business side and the government side of blockchain, how to implement this technology, how to understand this technology, because it's like a game changer. And it demands, first, I think, a lot of education. Before you implement the technology, you need to understand the concept of decentralization, you need to understand the concept of transparency, you need to understand the concept of basically no control over the process. You let the control to the people, and there is a lot of educational funnels, a lot of barriers to overcome as a business and also, of course, as a government before you can even start implementing this kind of solutions.
I agree. So it is extremely important that we kind of know this technology better and start talking about it more frequently. That's the exact point. So we can kind of create that knowledge to the people about that technology and not only link it with certain crypto coins or things like that. So Francisco, if I may ask you about, as you know, whenever there is an emerging technology, right, there are industries who have a low melting point, who can be a facilitator in adopting that technology, and in comparison to that, there'll be like government regulated bodies who will not be very open to adopt those new technologies. What do you think would be the best industry or the ideal industry to facilitate blockchain related use cases?
You mean use cases? Well, yeah, use cases is the key question, no? Because it's a complicated technology, so people ask always, show me an example. We at Gelurida, we are working now in a EU-funded project where we use our Ignis blockchain to coordinate the different delivery of goods to the last mile. So if you are ordering something online, it can happen to you that you have 3 guys ringing into your door the same day. So why they come just once?
Yeah.
For doing that, they need to coordinate different companies. This is very complicated right now because every company has its own database. So what we are proposing them is to use a public blockchain, in this case, Ignis blockchain, and they coordinate their deliveries on this public platform, which doesn't belong to anyone, and everybody can use. And then there is transparency. If there is something tricky or not well done, then you see it. So you cannot blame anyone else. And this is a Senator project. You can check in the website. It's senator.eu.
Yeah.
And it's participating Correos, Accenture, and very interesting, 2 municipalities, the municipality of Zaragoza and Dublin, because also they have interest in having the cities not collapse, but all these vans that are delivering things. No? So this interests them a lot because they reduce the congestion of the traffic.
Oh, that's very nice.
So this is a use case which maybe it's not fancy or maybe it's not related to the crypto world, but it's very interesting, no? Because you reduce urban congestion, you reduce consumption of CO2, and the companies benefit because the companies reduce the cost of delivering by coordinating each other.
I agree. This is a very interesting use case, by the way, and these are the use cases that we need to really work on, which are far away from crypto. Generally, whenever we talk about blockchain, the first thing that comes to mind is crypto, and then the decision maker try to kind of, link it with cryptocurrencies always. So which brings me to the other question. Another very unique feature and defining characteristic of blockchain is considered as decentralization. While on the other hand, we know that corporates and especially the government sector are very centralized bodies, right? They're focused on centralized authorities. How do you think, or do you think it is a good idea to sell blockchain in those bureaucratic centralized organizations like government sector, Edwin?
All right, so I'm gonna be a little bit critique here and say like, do all companies need blockchain? I don't think so. I mean, you have to understand what is your business, what is your approach, what can this new technology can bring on board. So you always have to figure it out first as a business if you wanna grab this technology and embed it inside. So decentralization is a big fact just because you open up to different databases, as he was saying, and you establish yourself with interconnectivity. It's easier to grab data from different nodes. It's easier to grab data through different apps, and that can provide the business with optimization. So in the end, what business should be doing is, can I grab blockchain to optimize, to reduce costs? And those questions will actually answer you and say, yes, I'm going to jump in, regardless if it's through a token use or a blockchain use. So more than just establishing yourself as a user of blockchain, the business has to understand if, can I benefit in and can I provide more to other parts? Because once you enter this decentralized aspect, other companies might also benefit from your use because the data itself, it's open and it's usable by third parties. So grabbing the decentralized factor, it's also a mentality state, and blockchain companies should understand that it's not just the tech that people that are behind, it's also the community building. It's also the people that are in the back. Web 2 has a lot to learn from Web 3, and it's all because not just the technology is optimizable, it's beneficial, it's cost reduction, but also the people that follow the projects suddenly change their mind and they no longer become clients and users, they become community. And that's a very interesting fact that companies, now we're seeing even Web2, Netflix opening up and saying a Discord channel. It's all because they understand that something happened in Web3 and is, do we want to start treating them as users and clients, or do we bring them on board our brand and say, hey, you're part of Netflix community? And obviously we're going super corporate and that, but all Web3 companies know that. So in that sense, optimization is key, community building is key, and just changing this whole aspect for the companies is cost. If you are well situated, it's very costly for you to do the switch so transcendental. So thus, therefore, you have to always analyze what is your key return of investment. If I go into this way, when am I going to get a return of benefit? So if you don't know how that happens and you just go because everybody's jumping in, then you know probably you're going to end up hating blockchain. So we don't want to have that. Always learn how is the best approach for you to enter the new technology and then get the best out of it. It's like you don't need machine learning for executing a database. I'm going to apply machine learning if I need to get all this chain of nuts or whatever. But that's just my feedback here.
That's very interesting. So brings me to Zubair. I know you are very closely related to Islamic financial services and be it banking or insurance, and you are a very strong proponent of blockchain technology as well. It'll be really interesting to understand that there is a huge, massive market demand of Islamic financial services in the world. How do you see blockchain playing its role, specifically knowing that cryptocurrencies are, kind of considered very bad in all Islamic financial services? So how do you have any use case in your mind which can really prove to be a very good use case for Islamic financial services in the world?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Numan, having me in this panel. Basically, if you see the total size of Islamic finance industry, which is about $3.8 trillion in the world, and we have evidence that Islamic banks, Islamic financial institutions, having their presence in more than 120 countries, even including in Spain. So, but there are some limitations within Islamic finance industry that whenever we talk about for the adoption of any financial products or technology in the Muslim world, which is about 1.8 billion people, 1/4 of the world population, they always concern about that what is the process flow of technology, what is that process flow of that financial product. Therefore, in the Muslim world, the Muslim peoples usually utilize such type of technological and financial products which are according to their religious and social beliefs. Unfortunately, in Muslim world, if we see the adoption of the blockchain, that is comparatively less than to the any other religious portfolio of any country. There are some limitations. Number one, that we do not have any Sharia compliant blockchain who can facilitate Islamic banking industry. We do not have such blockchain where the Islamic banks, Islamic cryptocurrencies can be utilized at blockchain as a backbone. We do not have such expert within the blockchain industry who can design some product for Islamic banking and finance industry. I was evaluating that in Islamic finance industry, which have more than 5,000 financial institutions and banks in the world right now, less than 10% of Islamic finance industry, they are utilizing blockchain.
Wow.
So the adoption is very low.
Yeah.
In UAE, there is a one bank, Emirate Islamic Bank, they are utilizing blockchain only for the validation of their credit system, for the check validation. And yes, there are some couple of Sukuk and some Islamic insurance company, they are utilizing the blockchain, but that is not at such level where we can say that adoption is at very high end. So the BSV and other similar platform should think about that whenever they will go for the Muslim consumer market, they should have some such eminent features in their product that the adoptability should be increased over there. And I believe that in the future, as Islamic fintech is emerging, Islamic banking and financial products are emerging. So if we have Sharia compliant mechanism in the blockchain, it will be imminent. And by the way, blockchain, to make them a Sharia compliant is a very easy mechanism because blockchain is a technology.
Yeah.
So only we have, because we are the Sharia certification agency to the Islamic banks and Islamic fintech. And whenever they approach us, couple of cryptocurrencies approach us to make their cryptocurrency Sharia compliant. Yes, we work with couple of European cryptocurrencies and in the Middle Eastern cryptocurrencies, and we made them as well. But whenever we ask that from where will you tokenize or where you have to park your digital asset, their platforms are not Sharia compliant, which is a blockchain platform. So to make the blockchain a Sharia compliantness, it's a very easy task, and I hope so the people like you and others will consider it as well.
Thank you very much for that. That's very knowledgeable. So just
That's a good example, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but that's a good example of something that is already happening. So blockchain for governance is not like the future.
Yeah.
It's already happening. There are so many case studies from different types of services that the government provide to the people, if it's finance or anything else, that is already happening around the world.
Yeah.
In some countries, in a small level, you can ask the girls from Estonia how it works in Estonia. It's amazing. It's amazing, and it's rely on very two important things. One is transparency, but I think from the other side, which is GDPR style, it's privacy. People likes, and the next generation, they will keep their privacy much better than we are. And that this technology just enable it to happen.
That's very true. So just for the obviously sake of better understanding, when we say, as Zubair was mentioning, Sharia compliant or making blockchain Sharia compliant, it's about making it eligible to be called as Islamic instrument, which can support Islamic financing. And yes, it is the easiest way where this is very difficult other than blockchain. And it's a technology again, which can be used in the favor of any use case. Which brings me to another question for Edwin, actually. Yes, we know the Bitcoin is one of the biggest use case. Underlying technology is blockchain, right? And unfortunately, all the positive sides are there, but unfortunately, blockchain has been coupled with cryptocurrencies too much, with Bitcoin to a next level, that people have started thinking this is the only use case that blockchain can cover up, right? What do you think is or can be the biggest use case which can decouple. It's not only about developing that use case, but becoming as big as cryptocurrencies, either by falling or gaining that height, but becoming as big as cryptocurrency so that it can be decoupled from that particular angle.
Yes. So, what an easy question, right? I mean, in the end, if we do the analogy, cryptocurrency is cryptocurrency. So currency was the common denominator of how we execute negotiations and payments and everything. So if we analyze that was the best use case or the most common use case is because people want to transact. So we have to offer them the alternative that yes, cryptocurrencies, utility tokens, which is in reality what they are, serve a purpose, then financial instruments that are backed in the blockchain via security tokens, payment tokens, CBDCs, I'm not saying if they're good or bad, please don't judge me, but all I'm saying is maybe we can onboard all the people that are already using cryptocurrency as a form of payment, transmissions, interactions, transactions, and tell them, yes, this is the scenario A. The whole world has been testing cryptocurrencies as a new form of freedom of payments, freedom of banking, freedom of those. Why don't we give them now an alternative? Doesn't have to be regulated, but at least has to be trustworthy. Because we saw what happened with FTX yesterday. They had 8 billion in assets made out of their own FTT token. That doesn't provide trust. But a lot of companies were even funded by FTT token. And those companies right now are crashing or they're in the verge of not knowing what is happening. So let's all take that into consideration that there is a new form of payments, there is a new form of tokens, there is a new form of transactions, and now we have to prove that those are even beneficial at large scales. Banks are starting to tokenize bonds. Real estate has been tokenized. Equity is being tokenized. Why? Because it's easier to move and manage assets when they're on the chain. And it's not because of blockchain itself. It's because of the open ledgers. It's because of the transparency. It's because different players can connect to that same ecosystem. So the neobanks are starting to jump. And the more we see abroad, the financial instruments are going to be a key denominator in the next 5 to 10 years because everything that we're doing right now is just we're about to enter what is called the token economy. All economies are going to be backed by tokens. I mean, we already see in the breadcrumbs, all banks testing CBDCs. So right now, cryptocurrencies, yes, they did a lot of benefits, they did a lot of things bad, but now we clean and then we retry again and learn from all the mistakes and establish that the banking and the financial instruments are going to be key in the next 2 years because everything is going to be a token.
Great. So Francisco, another there are many observations and apprehensions about blockchain technology. So I was talking to a friend of mine who provides computing services, and I was talking to him with respect to the government sector, if they want to go on eKYC based on blockchain, right, instead of the traditional infrastructure for computing. His first view was it is going to cost you a lot. It is going to be very expensive. Is it true, or do you think there is an alternate mechanism to make it less cost effective?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably it's true because he will not lie to you. No, I mean, you cannot apply blockchain to everything right now because maybe it's not worth it or maybe the technology is not there. We need to be realistic. What are the use cases now? We have talked about logistics, about financials. I think the next big use case is gaming. In fact, we are working in a new game, a card game, what's called Bridgecham, which brings the bridge card game to blockchain. And gaming is very easy because it's very easy to apply tokenization with NFTs to the traditional skins and experience people is used to. No? This is what we have now, which is my dream. My dream is public administration.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody talks now in Europe about the next generation funds. It's a bunch of money that the European Union will give through the states, to the municipalities, to the regional governments, and finally to the people and the companies. But where is the money? You have no way to know it. I mean, imagine we can check in the blockchain, okay, now these millions have gone from Brussels to Madrid, and then from Madrid to this regional government, and from this regional government to this company. That's my dream. That's what can be done with blockchain. Then It's transparency,
Yeah.
and it's a very nice use case, but we are not here yet because this means a lot of legal stuff. So the legal frameworks are not yet adapted to all the use case. So we have what we have. We need to build on top of it, and then, of course, we need to be patient because the legal frameworks are not still yet there. When these legal frameworks get ready, we will be able to do maybe your friend's application with much more success, no?
I agree to that. And I'm just picking up one of the word that you used, that is public administration, right? It's normally perceived that the public trust on state affairs is not as much as it should be, right? Because of the service levels they provide, especially in third world countries, right? Or especially in the developing countries. When blockchain is all about, scalability, transparency, it's all about accountability. Do you think that bringing up use cases, Oran, if you may want to reply to it, is do you really think that bringing up kind of blockchain technology into public sector will help increase their credibility in the eyes of public because it is more credible to go on blockchain?
Yes, of course, definitely. First of all, just a comment about gaming. Gaming and blockchain are going well together for many years already. That's one of our main objectives in the company, and there are so many case studies about how gaming and games and players' security and stuff like that are already happening with the blockchain. In terms of the administration, just an example from Georgia, which is a project that we were involved with. The whole real estate trading platform in Georgia is blockchain-based.
Wow.
So the buyer, the seller, the broker from this side, the broker from the other side, the lawyer here, the lawyer there, the local municipality, all of these components that need to sign or pay or say something or submit a document, all of this process was pre-shaped. Wow. Everything was based on, is based on self-executed smart contracts. And it's just working, it's amazing to see how it works. And when you look at it and you say, why you never used it before? So nobody say blockchain, nobody say crypto, nobody say Bitcoin. The technology is there in the back end. Yeah. The front end is very easy and very intuitive, UI, UX, and everything that you need. In order to implement such a technology, and because of the barrier that we spoke about before, we always work in 3 layers. It's good for the business to understand and also for the government level. The first one is social level, education that we talked about before, bring on the people, explain what is transparency in blockchain, what does it mean, because there is a lot of values around it. The first layer is a social layer. The second one is data. You have a lot of data, especially as the government. You need to rearrange the data. You need to understand how you access the data. Different tech side like servers and so on, but the data need to be reorganized differently. Social data, the last one is tech, is to actually implement the smart contract into this data to enable this data to be accessible, to be monitored, to be changeable and so on. And once you place these 3 layers, then at the end of the day, you can actually use the values of this technology for the applications.
Wonderful. That takes the slot of my best use case for blockchain technology, what they have done in Georgia. If you can simply replicate that across the world, I think this will be the biggest use case. There are so many problems, specifically talking about the third world countries for property transfers and the ownership related issues. If you can simply put it on blockchain, what a use case. This is phenomenal. So yes, at the end of the day, it is all about use cases that we build as blockchain experts. And the more we talk about it, the more we discuss things, the more we will find that there are many use cases in front of us. And as it was clearly mentioned by Francisco, it's not important that we just opt in every use case, right? It's very important that we pick and choose the use case which is more closer or more easier to achieve through blockchain and then makes a difference in the life of people. So thank you very much, everyone. That concludes our panel. But yes, we do have time for any questions if you want to ask. So if there is any question, we are ready to answer that. We'll be happy to answer them, actually. Either we were too good, or everyone is sleeping.
All amazed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of curious about the Georgia real estate, and I'm wondering if what you did there is to basically replicate the mechanism that we already had in place for the real estate, or there is some sort of, I don't know, fractionalizing ownership
REIT or something like that, yeah?
Yeah, so the real estate assets were tokenized, basically. The whole, opportunities, everything was tokenized, and we helped them just to understand what blockchain and how it works in terms of the values of the technology. We are not a tech company, we are more like consultants. The idea was that this lawyer, for example, that is representing the buyer, he doesn't need to be involved in any part of the process until his time comes. There is one specific point or few specific points along this process that he needs to submit a paper, sign, or say something, or whatever. And when his time comes, then he needs to jump in, and not before and not after. And we just make the whole process much cleaner and much more convenient for everybody. It took a while to place it on the smart contract because it's a different mentality, but once it's there, we just saw that it can be implemented to different type of real estate and different levels and so on, because the flow is the same. People need to sign, people need to pay, the banks need to say something, and each and every one has its own timing, the right timing. And when it's predetermined, when it's written up front, the whole process is much easier. And of course, people later on, they have the ability to monitor and to own the token itself, which represent the real estate assets, and so on.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. Any further questions for us? So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Ron, Francisco.
Thank you to you.
And thank you very much.
Inviting.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Very good.